Welcome, everybody. Another wonderful edition, Chewin the BBQ Fat here on Monday night. Guys, I'm so excited. I've kind of talked about what we've got going on. Tonight and next week are going to be special. I've got the best teams in the country talking. We're going to be talking meats. We're going to be pulling stuff out of a hat to figure out what we're going to talk about, and it's going to be exciting. We've got Robert and Lex with Smoke Me Silly, and Paul and Lynn with, what do we want to call them this weekend? We'll call them Rooters and Tutors this week, with all their different name changes. In Augusta, they had all kind of different names. But, you know, they just got back from a double in Warsaw, Indiana. Robert and Lex just got back from Savannah, Georgia, out all over the place. We had another couple coming on. They had some issues, and hopefully we'll get them on next week. But what I want to do tonight, I want to talk about barbecue, what's going on in barbecue, how things are changing in categories, what they're seeing. These people cook all over the country. So get your questions ready, hit the like button, share the page, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you haven't subscribed to Silly Barbecue Life, go subscribe now. Best show on TV right now. Best show on YouTube when it comes to anything. It's the best show out there. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on the world famous Robert and Lex with Smoke Me Silly, and also Silly Barbecue Life, the best YouTube show out there. Oh, here they are.
Besides yours, right?
Nobody watches my YouTube channel. If we can get somebody to watch YouTube on here, it would be amazing, but we haven't been able to do it. So what's up, Tom? Matt, what's going on, Lincoln? How y'all been?
Good, tired.
Good. How you been doing?
I'm doing really good, Robert. You know, great to see you.
Well, I know you're shipping out everything with Ellen being disabled a little bit, so
it's been rough, guys. So you know, y'all work with us, work with me. Ellen had surgery on Friday. She's been out. She's on a scooter, hobbling around everywhere. So it's up to me, yours truly, to figure out the shipping. And only screwed up one thing so far. Not bad. She does an amazing job. Proud of her. But anyway, real quick before we bring on Paul and Lynn, who just jumped up a little bit higher in the rankings in the KCBS points this weekend. Tell me a little bit, how is Silly Barbecue Life going right now?
it's not. We had that month of August where really no competition, so that sort of slowed things down. Then we jumped right into doing competitions. We did the double in Augusta. And then we had Savannah we just got back from. So we're traveling quite a bit. And I've got a lot of footage, just haven't had the chance to edit it yet. That's the hardest thing I think about doing edited YouTube videos, is the editing portion of it. So hopefully I'll post something within the next week or so, if I'm lucky. Yeah.
You make him do this.
I know. It's hard to get him to do anything. You see me on Saturdays.
I know, you're out there. Let's go, Robert. I mean,
right?
Jeez. Well, let's bring on Paul and Lynn. Y'all know Paul and Lynn well, also. Great friends of all of ours. They've been killing it out there on the trail. So yeah. Let's see what they have to say. Yes, Tom, those videos are awesome. And Lex, can you do me a huge favor and share this video so people can get out there, because I'm not real good at it here.
Okay, I think Robert's already done that.
Oh, he's amazing.
Lynn, yeah.
How are you doing, Lynn?
Ooh, it's cutting into my sleep. I didn't get my nap on Friday. That rib burn going into a double after being on a double. I signed that up before he knew that I was signing up back-to-back doubles. And really, it was a double and a quarter because of the extra rib burn. No nap.
No nap. So I'm interested. Hey, Paul, I didn't want to leave you out. Everybody, you know, you're famous anyway. Everybody knows you.
Whatever.
That's right. Brent, I'm telling you, if this is a 5-star crew, I don't know what is. This is the crew to have. The best people in here. They're all showbiz people. It's great.
Brent's putting us on notice.
Brent's put everybody on notice.
So tell me a little bit about this rib burn that y'all were able to do. I've never done one.
So when when they started asking, they'd done the Warsaw contest back in May when it was the first one to open up with all the COVID and everything, and after the 3-month hiatus. And so they were like, would you guys be interested in doing just one of the rib contests? And of course, everybody's emailing back, sure. And what about if we made it a double? Sure. The more we could do, the better, because you never know if next weekend's going to actually happen. And of course, I like to sign up before I ask. And I think I'm the one chasing and he's driving. But yeah, so all it was Friday evening. We had like a 1 o'clock cooks meeting for just the ribs, and we got everything up, and turn in it was almost like the SCA. Turn in was at 7:30. They had awards at 8:45. So it was instant feedback, and then we went straight to bed and got up and did it again. And then got up and did it again.
After just doing the same thing the weekend before.
After doing it again and again. It didn't even feel like we had stopped. So, and he was still prepping meats Friday. Once we got there, he still had the ribs, because I guess it was Wednesday or Thursday. He goes, oh, I don't think I thawed enough ribs because I forgot about the third one. And then I didn't plan for anything hardly for the extra ribs. And then I didn't have enough butter. And it was just like, oh crap. Well, I don't know if I packed enough rub. So yeah, Friday ribs were a little bit on the.
It's pretty fun. I thought it was like she said, SCA, and to me it felt like SCA a little bit. It's a little more relaxed. You saw guys just kind of while they're cooking, just talking and just kind of cutting up from site to site, and it was really almost looked at as a practice going into the next day. So if you won something, that's great, but really guys were just out there trying new stuff. I talked to several teams while we were cooking ours that were just doing totally different stuff, just looking at it as an opportunity to just throw out some new product out there and see how it landed on the table.
Awesome. Chris Schaefer asked, did your rib burn results change how you cook the comp at all? I don't know what your results were on those.
No, we came in 5th on the rib burn, and that just kind of solidified what we were going to do the next day. I mean, it just said, okay, maybe we're on the right path here, up here, because Warsaw's way up there. We're pushing Michigan border where that one's at, so it's a little different. So, but yeah, we just ran the same one. The first day we didn't get a rib call. We got a rib call the second day.
Right.
Yeah.
So we do the up and down ribs. They're Ricky Bobby. If they ain't first, they're last.
Yeah.
And then they might be first, and then they might be last.
That's awesome. So Robert and Lex, Lynn signs up for all the contests. Who signs up for the contest that y'all are going to cook?
We discuss it, and then he usually signs up for it.
I'm usually the one that signs up for it, and I said, "Hey, how about we go do this?"
I say, okay.
Okay.
And then if there's one that's coming up like Lions, why aren't we doing Lions? Why aren't we doing Gainesville? We need to go do those.
If I don't sign up, she'll say, "How come we're not doing that?" And I'll say, "Okay, let's do it."
Let's do it. That's great.
Why not?
So, Lynn wore the wrong hat the first day. So let's get into what we're going to do tonight. What I've asked y'all both to come on so we could kind of have a little round table about competition meats. What's going on in competition barbecue? What do you see going on out there? So everybody that's watching, get your questions ready. We're going to talk about, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw ribs out just because we've talked about the rib burn and everything else, Lynn. Hopefully you're good with that. And then the other one will be something different. What are we laughing at? Didn't know it was couples night.
That would be a cute couple.
Should I bring Jeff on?
Man, I tell you what, that would be good, guys. I've got an extra spot tonight. So if y'all want to, I can send you an email, y'all, and we'll get you right.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
But we need you together.
We need their rib secrets, I tell you.
Too funny. All right, so we're going to talk ribs and get all your rib questions together, and then I'm going to let y'all in the audience decide if we talk. We're going to go with a big meat, so we're either going to go with pork or brisket. y'all let us know. And they don't know, we don't know. This is just going to be information overload here. So are y'all ready?
Sure.
Robert, are you going to be okay with no agenda tonight?
I'm good. I just noticed, I think we all look tired. I know you guys are because you just finished a double. So
Yeah, he sent me a message saying again at 11 o'clock last night. Whew. Thank y'all. Well, so thank you for coming on to Chewin the BBQ Fat. And I do appreciate it. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to go ahead and ask some questions. Y'all start bringing the questions and we will get rocking and rolling. Lynn, what kind of ribs, or Paul and Lynn, what kind of ribs do y'all cook?
The ones with the bones.
We cook comp parts.
Yeah.
Comparts, great. And what is your favorite part about compart ribs?
I think it's a richness there that I don't see in other pork brands. That so far, at least for us. Now there are a couple out there that I'm anxious to try. I just haven't gotten to that point. I think each rib brand cooks a little differently, and I understand how the compart reacts, and I know how it's going to finish out, so I'm comfortable with it, and that's what we're sticking with. But that doesn't mean that I'll rule out. We played a little bit this past weekend with some Allegiance ribs, just trying some different brands out there, just to see how that would react too, and they do cook different. So, but for us, so far, last year we did really good in ribs, and that was all compart. We're continuing that this year, but I'm open to other brands, that's for sure. I don't think you have to have the compart brand to win, but I think being comfortable with the brand that you're using over and over again is what's more important.
Awesome.
Just knowing how it's going to react after, I mean, even after resting and things like that, the different brands will behave differently. Texture will change after it rests. So it's pretty amazing how the flavor, the texture will change.
Not all pork is the same, that's for sure.
Right. It's very true. Robert and Lex, what is, I mean, compart, y'all cook compart also. We've had this discussion. You're the ones that brought me into the compart world. Well, everybody's heard that. What can you tell? What is it? How is the consistency play? Because if anybody watched our show with Jim Compart a week or two ago, he was talking about the consistency of the animals and the way they raised them. Can you go into a little bit of that for us?
Yeah, well, to me, the consistency for those are when we order them, we get mostly straight bones with them. There's a lot of fat in them, and we like the big fatties. No offense to anybody. That has a certain sweetness, and I don't know if that's what Paul is talking about in richness. We've cooked a lot of brands of ribs. We've cooked Seaboards. We've cooked, are they Seaboards or Prairie Fresh, the ribs?
it's the ssame company, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. One of them's
Prairie
different.
Fresh.
We've cooked Allegiance. We've cooked 1855. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But we've cooked a lot of them, but these are the ones hands down that has that sweetness and that fat. And our ribs are mainly savory, but I think that sweetness and that fat helps us out with that. Yeah,
we actually cooked, we had 4 comparts to cook this past weekend, and somebody else had an extra rib. It was a Smithfield extra tender.
Yes.
And we stuck that on with it, and it had some good marbling. I was surprised, and it had good thickness. And it wound up being a good rib, that Smithfield, but still didn't compare to the 2 best comparts we had. In fact, the one compart I knew, because it was really marbled, it just was great thickness. And to me, I noticed the ribs, compart ribs with the shorter bones, not so long, and the marbling, they're the ones that usually turn out the best for us.
Yeah.
So that's usually the ones we pick. And I knew it once we cooked it, and then we tried it. That was and we haven't got a rib call all year, except for that first contest, and we just got a second of ribs. And I knew that top ribs was going to get us there.
I was going to bring that up. We cooked together last weekend, I guess, in Augusta, or 2 weekends ago, whatever it was. And you're like, I just want a rib call.
Yeah.
And I was watching the awards at Savannah, and you got second place ribs.
Mm-hmm.
What was different in those ribs, or was there anything different in those ribs that stood out to you?
Yeah, like I just said, the fat, the overall marbling
Yeah.
in that rib. And for some reason, I shouldn't say this, but some of the comp parts we were getting didn't have as much marbling as it normally does. I don't know if I'm just getting unlucky. They're usually pretty consistent.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, Jim says they are pretty consistent. I don't know why. We were getting the longer bone ones for some reason. And they were good still, but they weren't that what I'm usually looking for. A lot of people don't like those real fatty ribs, but I love the more fat on them, the better. I can shave them down to get a little bit of meat in between, but I'm looking for the real fatty ones.
Yeah, this season, I don't know if it's us or the ribs, but we've been having problems finding that flavor from last season, even though we've been doing everything the same, and all pigs are different, and you can have 5 or 6 racks and they'll all taste different. But this past weekend, we had that flavor again.
Oh yeah,
It was definitely there.
definitely.
And Megan, Trey, we get the bow-legged pigs. Just if they get straight bones, we get those bow-legged bones. So, yeah, our cuts are like this.
They really are, but it doesn't bother me. When you line it up in a box, it looks just as good. I think people get hung up on the straight bones too much. Really and truly, it's like Robert said. It's all about the meat quality itself. I can put a crooked bone in there, over a good fatty crooked bone in there over a lean straight bone any day, and still do much better in the end.
Yeah, I noticed that. Everybody, they get hung up on that straight bone thing. I'm like, don't, and they try to cut it straight up and down too. I don't know. We prefer to cut it with equal meat on both sides of the bone.
Yep.
We don't try to have that straightness, and we usually don't have an issue with appearance. If there's planted bones in there, so don't get hung up on that.
I have an 8 in appearance and an 8 in taste.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So, Paul, you were over there shaking your head when Robert was giving a little bit of information, right? That's what we do here on Chewin the BBQ Fat. We are here for people to learn, and that's why I get the best of the best to come on the show, because everybody looks up to y'all. So, what was it about that comment that he was talking about that makes such a difference to you? Because obviously it does.
I don't know that I want to highlight it. I don't know. I had to cook a lot of comp parts to kind of see that pattern start to develop. But Robert's right. I feel the same way. Is that when I call Kevin at the butcher shop, I'm golly, he won't be able to sell a long bone now. I request the short bones when I call down there, and that's one of the things I like ordering from Kevin, is I can kind of tell him what I want, and for the most part, he'll try his best to get that to me. And the long bones, for some reason, I don't know why they do seem like they're just a little bit leaner, and I don't know if it's the thickness of the meat between the bones or what, but there's just the mouth bite just not as good to me as when you have that shorter, thicker rib. So no matter what pork you're using, I do like a thicker rib versus a thin rib. I'm trying to make that work.
Hey guys, there's your golden ticket right there, your golden nugget that everybody's always looking for. Sure. I love it. I see half of Paul's face, but I did get to see the eye roll right there. That was classic.
So Brian, Jim's actually listening. So Jim, we like the short, stubby, fatty pigs.
Y'all saw that. I posted Jim's comment, what he had to say. He said they cooked it because of all the consistency of the extra marbling that they have been naturally through 20 years of genetic testing. We also feed a specialized feeding program that was developed over 17 years of nutritional research. So I had that on the show there.
I was always wondering if Jim's listening, the short versus the long. I was just wondering if that was an age deal of the hog, if one was just a little bit older than the other. I'm just being curious as to why because it's clear you can buy a case, and several of them in there will be short and several of them they're long. So I've always been wondering why they were different, and the bone structure is different. You can really see the difference in the bone structures from the short to the long.
Well, Jim, you're up. Answer that question first, if you don't mind. All right, so Robert and Lex, I'm going to ask you this question, and I'll start with y'all, and then I'll let Meg says no short shaming. You're not short. when you're cooking ribs, are you looking for sweet ribs? Are you looking for savory ribs? Are you looking for what is your flavor that you're trying to get? You said you found that flavor this weekend. What it don't be as specific as you would like, but what is it that you're looking for in that perfect rib that you find so often in ribs?
Well, for us, that flavor we're looking for, I think it's because we inject ribs. So it seems like the more fat that's in there, like anything, even pork, when you put a wrap into a pork wrap liquid into a pork butt, a lot of that fat absorbs that flavor. And I think the same thing happens to ribs. That flavor is absorbed into that extra marbling that's in there, or that fat, and it just gives it way more flavor. So that's why we like the fattier, more marbled ribs.
But he's asking about her flavor profile.
Yeah, I know. I didn't answer that, but,
I was kicking them.
yeah, I mean, say it's savory. I mean, to us, it's more savory. We add a little bit. I mean, it's obviously sweet because we put sauce on it, but I think it's just got a good balance, I think.
Yeah, I think ours is a little bit more on the savory side. Our sauce is pretty sweet, but the meat is so savory that I think it's a really good balance, but there's of course a little heat at the end too. So
there you go. Good answer, Lex. Robert, I mean, my old co-host of Chewin the BBQ Fat, the creator of Chewin the BBQ, he's the one that told me, hey, we got to get information out. So I'm just trying to do what you taught me how to do on the show, Robert. So Paul and Lynn, I'm going to go to you now. And what is it, something that you're looking for? Fat ribs matter. That's right, Bill. Oh, me. Great. Thanks for coming on, Bill. Good to see you. Paul, what are you looking for? Okay, hold on a second. Oh, we got Jim. The narrow bones are just how they are cut. The fatter ribs just have more bacon left on them.
No wonder they're better.
bacon makes everything better.
We want more bacon.
More bacon. Yeah,
Right.
bacon good.
Bacon and butter.
Gotta have it. Awesome. So let's get back while we're on this sharing the tips thing. Paul, what is the let's see, how can I ask this without you having to give me too much of what are you looking for in ribs? What is that perfect bite that you want in a rib? If you were judging your rib, what would you be looking for in your rib? Now, Lynn, you're the one that does the ribs, correct? You're the one that tries them, right?
So Paul, tell me what you would be looking for in the perfect rib.
I don't know. I just put in the box whatever she tells me to put in the box.
That's why I said Lynn.
As many bites as I take, ribs are probably the main meat. Chicken, I may take one bite and I'm good and we go. Pork, sometimes I don't even taste any of the pork, and brisket's only because he's like, hey, taste this. Is it juicy? Is it not juicy? But ribs, I eat the heck out of some ribs, and I am looking for that rib that makes me go, that's good. That's a good rib right there. And I know that sounds so generic, but there is something when you taste it that makes you.
I'm going to stop you right there. What is good?
Oh, look at the host.
Oh.
I'm going back. I'm going to bring you back up so nobody can see me.
It's the bite, it's the flavor, it's the moisture level. There is something about a well-balanced just makes it taste good. There is something that just stands out, and there's no single flavor that like really, really jumps out at you. It's not like you go, that's really sweet, or that's really savory, or really spicy, or it's a very well-balanced, and it's very hard to find that. And we have found that out this year, because last year, we did very, very well in ribs. This year we have kind of gone up and down, and we've gotten some things back that we were like, we didn't change a thing, and now all of a sudden they're too salty, or now they're mushy, and last year that was what they were looking for. And so it's tough. But there are times that you bite into one and you go, oh, that's good, and I wish I'd put that rib in the box.
Yeah, I think like Robert said, I think it's just our Lex talking about just the balance part of it. I mean, you can over flavor it really quick, but the pork itself is naturally sweet. So you're just really trying to amp that up as much as you can to the point of, you're not going over it. It still tastes like good sweet pork, but it's not too salty, not too hot. You know, but it's hard. It really is hard to describe. You just want to have to taste it. I mean, but I think if you just let the pork do the majority of the work, not try to just overwhelm it with a whole bunch of pineapple, mango, habanero sauce and everything else, I think you end up better in the end. Now, if you've got some pretty bad ribs, maybe you do need to amp it up with a whole bunch of flavor. But with what we're using, typically we just let the pork run it, and our sauce is super thin. You know, you can see through it. You can see the grain of the meat through the sauce. I mean, it's we're just accenting the pork. That's it.
Nice. We've got a question. Got a question in from the audience. Robert, best tenderness or best taste in the front row?
I don't know. It's got to be both. Like I said, we do 4 racks of ribs, and I think taste should always win out because it's the highest scoring out of the 3. But you want both, of course. Of course, both taste and tenderness outrank appearance every time. You can handle those 8s in appearance. You can get 9 9s in the other 2 areas. So yeah, I don't know if that answered the question, but
So I think also, if I can add on there, I think also,
Please do.
I think judges, when they get a perfect bite, I think that elevates their taste score. And I know that we see, and I don't want to say all judges are like this, we see 988s or 899s, things like that. I think taste and tenderness are very closely tied together for judges. So if you have, it's really a tenderness contest. If you have an okay taste, but the tenderness is dead on, they're going to elevate your scores, I think. And that's what I think we've seen.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Because we've had ribs that have been butt ugly, and that they tasted good, but they weren't great, you know, but the tenderness was just perfect on them, and we scored really well.
I mean, you get judges all the time saying that it tastes dry.
Oh yeah.
Dry has nothing to do with taste. That's a tenderness. They'll mark both areas down. I'm not all judges are like that, but I've seen that.
We've heard that.
Yeah.
Got a comment card. What do you think, Paul?
I think well, so that's kind of a double-loaded question. I'm not sponsored by Compart or anything like that, but we use Compart. We use it for a reason, and the reason why we use it is because we went from cooking ribs that we were trying for the best tasting rib to where now all 4 of them taste the same no matter what we do. So it's no longer about taste for us; it's about tenderness. So we're always going to put the closest to the correct tenderness in the front, because the taste is going to be the same in all 4 racks. Whether they're long bone or short bone, to me, the taste is always there.
That was what I was going to say earlier. Not that anybody's worried about me. I've noticed that my ribs generally taste the same. It's the tenderness game on mine when trying to get them done. All right,
we need a class from one of you guys, because ours don't taste the same.
Mm-mm.
There's
That takes a long time.
Especially depending on how much fat.
They're all the same. Because for the long time, it was always like, ooh, it's that rack. And Paul's like, I can only get 3 ribs out of that rack. And I'm like, you got to get 6. Figure it out. And then
Right?
it's like, you see that look of slicing when it goes, we're going to lose that rib right there. And it's like, I need that rib. And when you put that other one in, and then you're sitting there going, okay, you get the whack scores because you're like, well, we put in some ribs from different, pigs, and, one is a 999, and then you got some crazy, 877, and you're like, well, it didn't come from the same rack of ribs. And so how do you know which one they liked and which one they didn't? Was it the one you thought was the good one that you put in the box, or?
I just think it comes back to tenderness. The bad thing about it is you can't taste the rib you're putting in the box. So you're just taking by feel and your best judgment from cooking ribs over and over and over again that's the right ones to put in the box. It's not foolproof. You can still put a rack in there, or a rib in there that had a little hard spot in it or something, that fooled you, that the end pieces were good, because we're only trying the ends and hoping the rest of it is similar to that. More times than not, it is, but occasionally it will fool you, and you'll, or judges, it is a little bit subjective. So what one finds perfect, one might find slightly over or slightly under. So there is that game part of it too.
This is great. I've got another good question coming in. Obviously, we've had two people ask basically the same question. But before we get there, you just brought up something about tasting the ends, right? So you taste the ends of the two racks. Are you trying to go the big bones or the small bones when you turn in?
I go
Lex,
in
you
the
look like you have a good answer. You look like you're excited to answer that.
I'll wait. I'll pass.
Okay, so we're gonna move that over to Lynn, because everybody says that we need to be asking Lynn. So Lynn, you're on it.
Well, I mean, it kind of depends, because it depends on what the bite is like. So there is a big mouthfeel that goes with it, and a lot of the times when I get a certain mouthfeel, because Paul is doing the cutting, he knows what it feels like, and I know that it's hard to give you how to get that other than to watch what you're doing every single time and pay attention to feel. And I've heard that before, and I used to hear people say, I never cook to temp. I'm not probing and temping. It's what it feels like, and there is a feel.
Yeah, I think it comes back to your prep too. Ryan and Nathan taught me that more than anybody, is that when you're prepping those ribs, whatever number of bones that you're cutting out to cook at the contest, that's the same number of bones you go with each time. And you'll learn you're taking off so much from each side, where you're kind of balancing it out. So it's not heavy on the big bone side, and it's not heavy on the little bone side. And by the time you take those ends off, get you a taster, you're kind of toward the middle of the rack. And depending on whether you go skinny or thick, depending on how done they are. Sometimes you pull them and they tighten up, or you pull them a little early, you might have to go to the thicker side. If they're a little under, you might have to go to the thinner side.
Good answer. All right, Lex, what do you think?
I don't know. I usually, when I'm picking bones and I'm trying both sides, I usually go towards a thinner side. I think the flavor's better there. I don't know why. It could be because they're so hot that I can't really bite the thicker side. But to me, they just taste better on the thinner side.
Usually on the thicker side of the thicker bones, they're usually a little bit more falling off the bone than the thinner bones.
Oh, they've got a lot more
Yeah.
fat there too.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
usually a layer of the bacon, and then there's a layer of fat, and then there's the rib. So a lot of times when you bite into those also, you'll have that whole big piece of bacon sometimes fall off when you take that bite. So do you really want to turn that into a judge? I don't know. I mean, we have, and we've gotten decent scores with them because they're comp parts and they taste wonderful. But I don't know. I've always liked the thinner side,
Yeah.
always, consistently.
Look at there. Thank you, Lex.
You're welcome.
Lex, I'm glad you come on. Normally it's Robert, the one that's giving out the information. You're over there saying, shut up, shut up, shut up. And today Robert's over there with his, he's just, I guess he's got it back. All right, so let me get back to the other question everybody has. Holding temp. Cody and Bill Purvis both have asked this question. Holding temp, the temp you want to keep your, well, I guess it's a little different. The temp you want to keep your ribs at once they come off the smoker up to the time you go to the box. So, and I'm going to combine that, right? Okay, so the other question that Bill Purvis asked was, how long do you camber ribs? So we can combine that. Do you want the ribs to rest? One is a question. And then two, if you are going to put them in a camber or whatever you do, how long is too long? How long is not, or what's too short? What's a good answer? Robert, I can see that you're just dying to give me this answer. So you got it, bud. Let's hear it.
Well, I don't like my ribs to rest that long. As soon as she turns in chicken, that's when we're taking ribs off the cooker. And they're on a sheet pan. We put some foil over them. They rest about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's it. And then we start cutting them.
Yep.
So we do not want to rest ribs in a camro. It just doesn't work. We get them to the exact tenderness sort of that we want. on the
Now,
cooker.
when you say you put them on a baking sheet, is that before or after you have set them, or like you take them out of the rack?
So after we sauce, they go back on the cooker. And as soon as she turns in chicken, I take them off the cooker. We have this big sheet pan, stick them on there. We lay foil loosely over it. It doesn't go into a Cambro. It's sitting in the motorhome.
And they're ready to go. At that
ready
point,
to go.
you're ready to slice them and ready to go.
Yep, I have the cutting board out and the knife ready. And at about 17 after the hour, or not whatever time it is.
He knows the time.
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
shocked. I'm so proud.
Oh, is
of
it
I'm
right?
very shocked.
Man,
You're,
bonus.
so you don't rest at all then. So you don't really take them out, leave them in a wrap, and rest them at all. They're basically cooking and then going to get whatever you do to them, and then you take them off once chicken's done.
To me, it's a lot like chicken. You don't rest chicken. You take it off the cooker, you put it in the box. It's pretty much the same for ribs for us anyway.
All right, so let's see what our other top team has to say. What do you guys think about this question?
We learned from the best, and he just spoke.
I called him the professor for a long time. And
We're very similar. I mean, that's what we have found. We don't put in a Cambro. You got your wrap with your juice in it. If the rib is just slightly it needs just a minute or two more, I'll still leave it out, leave it in even the juice, put it in an aluminum foil pan, put it on top of the cooker and just let it sit in the juice. If it's just right, or if I've overshot it just a hair, I immediately drain the juice out and put it in the aluminum foil. It's just sitting in the aluminum foil. So, I mean, your goal is that rib is going to tighten up a little bit, because you want it to tighten up before you set it back on the cooker for the sauce, which is going to soften it back up, but you still get that good holding bite on the bone there. So yeah, we're almost identical. We don't like having ribs rest for an hour, or so for us it's about 10 to 15 minutes before we're saucing and putting them back on.
That was probably the hardest thing with the rib burn, is you weren't thinking about all the other meats that were on the cooker, and our ribs finished way fast because that cooker was hot and it was rolling, and it was like, and they did okay. And we're the masters of last minute. Paul loves to make me stress out, and it's like, we're going to be a little bit towards the end of turn in.
It's done when it's done.
That just makes my blood pressure go sky high.
That's awesome. Lex, does Robert ever do that to you?
Never.
Yes, it happens all the time.
I made, I guess it was Jimmy run the other day at the last contest. Whatever. Y'all saw that. I think everybody saw that. That was not fun. All right.
Poor Jimmy.
Sorry. Jimmy's awesome. Everybody. Oh, anyway. My lights are flickering. All right, they're good. So good question. I know, right? It's the dollar show, right? Right, Robert?
That's right. Dollar store.
Surgery.
Dollar store show. It's not gotten any better since you've gone off and gone the high road with your vlog. So once again, for all the new people on, tell me, hey, hold on, Paul and Lynn, what do you think about the silly barbecue life?
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I've watched them, all of them. I can see the editing taking so long, so I think that's kind of the best part of it, is that it keeps you interested. Some shows I've watched, it just kind of drags on, and it just. But no, I really like it. I think it's different, and I get a kick out of it.
Of course, you have to say that because your wife's one of the stars.
That is true.
That's only because I make the sneaky little knife move in the background, and I pop out at like
Yeah.
Oops.
She's just not a star. She's a superstar. Yeah.
Y'all are all superstars. I'm just proud to have all y'all. Wow, it was awesome, Paul. So who is cooking Gadsden this weekend?
We are.
Awesome. Janet, I know you're very excited. Oh, it's closed. We won't talk about it then. Everybody, y'all have a good time at Gadsden and have a good cook. Sorry, I was going to bring that up, but Janet just said they were closed. No more open spots. What day of the week do you pre-fold your Robert? What day do you pre-foil foam your foil?
Phone.
If that question's coming from Bee's knees, there's no answer.
No answer. No answer. All right, so let's move on. I think we've covered a good bit. Where is the best place to get rubs and sauces for? This is an easy answer. Y'all better get this right. Where's a great place to get rubs and sauces for your ribs?
Publix?
I order
Walmart.
online.
Walmart, I think, does a good sauce or two.
No, but it does start with an A. Wait for it.
Not Amazon?
Abs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Abs.
So I will say this, and this is, they don't want to do it yet. Every rubs and sauce they use, you can get at the Atlanta barbecue store, and they have whatever it takes to win. So I just wanted y'all to,
And we really miss Ellen.
you know,
My order's
Ellen
late
is,
this week.
Are y'all cooking lions, Paul and Lynn?
Yes.
I don't.
I know y'all are, Robert.
They probably are.
What weekend is that? Wait a minute.
I don't
Let me
know.
look at my
First weekend
calendar.
of October, what, the 9th, 10th?
Yeah.
Let's see. September, October. First weekend of October is open on our calendar right now. I think that's like an 8.5-9 hour drive for us. Is it a double? Could they make it a double?
Steak.
No,
They do
they're doing steak. Steak.
They got the steak.
Yeah, we don't do so good with steak.
I don't either. But anyway, if you're going to be there, Ellen will be there scooting around on her scooter since she's not able to walk. And so she'll be going all over the place, chasing kids around with her scooter. So if y'all are all there, you need to come watch her and cheer her on. She's just rolling all over the place with that thing. It's kind of funny.
Is she going to be turning in with her scooter?
You know, Jimmy is not going to be there.
Ooh.
Wow. Make
Yes.
sure you get her horn.
So we're going to try and let Cole turn in for us. We'll see how that goes. Whatever. What date does the points chase end? The points chase, I believe you two can answer it. Sometime in October 31st, maybe?
Yeah.
Last
Last weekend
weekend.
of October.
October 8th and 9th. We have 9 spots left. So Paul and Lynn, come on. They got 9 spots left.
That's a long way.
I gotta do my map quest.
Real easy.
Come on,
It's real
Lynn.
easy.
Come on now. We just drove to
Now I will go anywhere. He does all of the driving, and Meg, I think, pinned it earlier. Lynn sleeps while he drives. So, and I hear every once in a while, I'll hear, "Did you just take a picture of me sleeping? Seriously? Come on." Yeah. Maverick and
I do that in my car too. Don't feel bad, Paul. People fall asleep in my car, pictures being taken.
Mouth all open.
Yep.
I have to say, probably the best thing, and it was hard, was doing 2 in Indiana or Illinois one, and we were able to leave the trailer, and that was like really, I mean, it was hard packing, but I could actually drive, even though I don't like to drive his truck, but he was able to sit over there. He doesn't sleep, but he's like, it's just the fact that you are not like
Relaxed.
down the road. And I mean, it's focused. So I don't know. Lions is wow.
It's a great contest.
I've heard it's a great contest.
So let's move on. Now that we've got ribs taken over, we've got them figured out. I think everybody can go out and cook ribs like these 2 wonderful teams next weekend and score really well. So let's move on to pork. Nobody said anything. I want to talk pork. Yeah, because next week we're going to talk chicken and brisket. We're going to change it up next week. So pork. We can pass over the whole compart thing. We've already talked about the meat and everything else. Y'all both cook meat, the same thing. What do y'all think about tubes? I'm just kidding. Robert, if you remember our pork conversation, Robert, back in the day, that was old school. Tubes were a major topic in the pork world. But
I even remember that.
that was a funny content, funny show. So tell me a little bit about your pork process, Robert.
Pork process.
Which
part of the
yeah.
process are you talking about?
Well, let me read. I don't mean your process. I'm sorry. Tell me, go into not too much detail. Tell me a little bit about your pork thought process when you're trimming pork, when you're injecting it, and the way you cook it. Is there something that you're looking for in pork? And is there a way that you inject it a certain way? Trimming. What do you think about that?
All right, for pork, we don't really trim much. We trim around the money muscle a little bit, like that fat right behind the money muscle, just to expose a little bit more meat. Because we notice on the com parts, they leave a lot more around the money muscle, which I like, because that helps us sort of create the money muscle that we want to see. Some of these brands you get, some of that money muscle is cut into and you don't get the full thing. So a lot of people see the comp part or order comp part and they don't see a lot of money muscle and they're like, oh, this is crap, but they just haven't got into it. Once you get into it, you realize they leave a lot more in there and you're able to sort of create a better money muscle appearance than you really think you're getting. So, but we don't trim that much off the butt other than that area. And as far as turning for the box, we don't turn much around the bone anymore. We used to turn a lot of meat from around the bone, but our scores were all over the place. They weren't consistent. So we even switched to the point where we just turned in money muscle. And I know a lot of other good cooks that do that or did that. And then we switched to doing money muscle and then the smaller muscles behind that, the tubes as well. But you just got to get the injection. Like when we inject, we make sure we concentrate on the money muscle and the tubes and make sure we get as much flavor into there as possible. With a comp part butt, it's not about moisture because there's so much fat in there. There's plenty of moisture. So you're wanting to get the flavor in there. So we make sure we probably use a lot more injection. Now, like we've been to a lot of classes over the years and majority of those people doing injection, they use a lot less than we do. We use a lot more injection in our pork butt. But yeah, so we're concentrating on that money muscle and the tubes, and that's what we turn in mainly.
Mhm.
All right, I got a question for y'all, but I'm gonna come back to it in a second. Paul and Lynn, do what?
Said he'll forget.
You just hope I forget because it's a good question for everybody else. Paul and Lynn, what's different about y'all? Because I know this is the way trimming is a big deal. What would you say? Would you have anything different to say that y'all do different, or is it pretty much similar?
Yeah. I mean, I personally don't think trimming is that big. I think most people are doing it fairly similar. You got either people cooking the whole butt, or you got people cooking basically a half a butt. Outside of that, I think we're all fairly similar. The only difference would be I go back toward the socket side. And actually there's a thin piece that pork starts to get thin as it goes across the top. I normally cut that off, just square it off and cut it off because I don't want it to crisp up and burn up on me. I cook really hot and fast. So and the reason why I care is because of how it affects my au jus. My pork au jus, I noticed, will have a little bit of bitter taste if that meat stays on there because it will just basically dry up or jerky almost. So I'll trim that off. I'm not a bacon guy, so I'll go actually underneath the money muscle and trim a little bit of that back so I can get more bark around the money muscle itself instead of just kind of the side and the top. But outside of that, I think we're the same on that. I'm probably one of the lighter injections. I've learned that the hard way. I've over injected several of them and created some soft spots and things. So I tend to be a little bit lighter on the injection.
Very good. What about the meat? Are you looking for more than just the money muscle, or do you like the bone area, or what is that something that you don't like talking about?
Well, we've done a little bit of everything. It really just depends on the pork butt. I mean, of course, naturally everybody's trying to put in a money muscle. I don't think I've ever put a box that didn't have a money muscle in it somewhere down the line.
Not since the very beginning.
Yeah.
When we probably didn't even know what the money muscle was.
Yeah, I didn't even know what was even doing there. Yeah. But yeah, we like the twos part two. I think that's the real test. Get that cooked correctly, I think they can really shine. But if you don't do them correctly, then they can count against you. So just depends on how well I did my part cooking it. If that doesn't work, then we'll above the tubes, you normally have a little bit of meat there that sits on top of that. It's got more bark on it, but it can also come out good too. So it just whatever the butt's giving you the best, because you're looking for, like we talked about ribs, the tenderness, the chew factor part of it, as well as the taste on that side. We do a little bit of everything, but definitely the money muscle all the way through. And we try not to do a bunch of different stuff. It's basically it's two things for us. Whatever it is, it's just going to be two things, just to make the box look pretty. If I could just do money muscles and get away with it, I probably would just do that. I just don't. I think I would. Some places it would work. Some places I probably would get counted down because maybe that's thinking that's all I could cook, or the rest of it didn't turn out right, or something along that line. A presumption of that, but no, we'll just give them just the two different, whether it's a pile of pork or whether it's chunks or whatever it is. And the money muscle, we'll keep it just the two.
Because when you get those scores back, you never know. Was it the money muscle that dinged the taste and tenderness? Was it the other meat that you put in? And then you start questioning yourself. I think we started doing better in pork because pork was always the mystery meat. I always made the joke that instead of let's keep all 6 judges in, can I pick the meat I want to drop? And pork was always the meat I wanted to drop because we just couldn't figure it out. And so it just became it's pork. So, and then
those days are
like,
long
I
gone.
love it. I don't know.
Yeah, now it's like, hey, y'all are killing pork. But anyway, all right, Robert, my question, and I'm going to come to you too, Robert. When you're doing injection, what is the purpose of injection? Are you trying to add sweetness? Are you trying to add savory? What are you trying to do with the injection? Are you trying to add moisture? I mean, you just said no, you're not worried about the moisture. Mm-hmm. So what is that purpose of injection for you? What are you trying to get into that meat?
Yeah, for me, it's all flavor because I don't know. I know some people that they don't inject, and they used to do quite well in pork. And then they weren't doing that. They weren't consistent. The way they were winning, I think, is they were during that last 10 minutes when they're doing the box. And that's the way it is with us too. If your product isn't where it needs to be, that last 10 minutes, right before you put it in a box, when you're messing with it, you're getting it to exactly where you want it to be as far as flavor and sweetness and saltiness or whatever. So that'll make it break you that last 10 minutes.
So is your injection, is it more of a sweeter injection? Is it more of are you trying to be?
Drop it.
No, it's not sweet. I would say it was more savory than anything.
Savory.
I'm dropping it. Moving on. Paul and Lynn, when you're injecting meat, are you trying to, is that where you're getting most of your flavor? Or are you trying to get more of your flavor on the cutting board like Robert's talking about?
I think it's a little bit of both. So it's a little bit of balance. So I don't inject as much, and my injection is normally weaker than what your package says. So there are parts of the pork butt that's going to be inherently drier than other parts. So I may concentrate more in that just from trying to up the moisture in that part. But the other parts, like money muscles, they're just full of fat. So you don't really have to do much to a money muscle. It's kind of like cooking a really good brisket. You really don't have to do a ton to it to get it to come out right. And that's how I feel about money muscles. So we're concentrating on the parts that we know that are the more white meat of the pork that needs that little amp of moisture for us and flavor. But I agree completely with Robert and Lex that really what we do at the very end is what makes that butt. It's not how we do it at the beginning.
There you go. So what are you doing at the end?
Slicing it and putting it in the box.
I'm telling you, pork box is like the one, as soon as ribs are in, we start pork. I mean, it is not one that we can wait. You know, it's like we have got to start pork because it just takes longer to do the box,
Feel the meat.
to feel. I mean, and it is a lot of feel again. And I know it's taken a long time to get to the point where you think you figure out. And I do. I mean, I am sitting there and I'm manhandling that pork. It's just like, oh nope, not that one. And it's amazing how it can sit and change texture.
How many pork butts do y'all cook?
3.
4.
Wow.
We used to only cook 3, but I added one. I figured it increased the odds of getting good stuff. That's all. I have the room. Why not use it, right?
Better to have too many choices
Yeah.
than not enough for us.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. 2 different things. Roger asked, when buying meat, does everyone have that go-to? Compart is their go-to. So Robert's just looking at me like, don't even ask me, Brian. Just quit asking these questions. But I'm here. I'm here for everybody. Y'all ask more questions. What injection do they use? They're not going to tell you. But they do have it.
Use Butchers, I'll tell you.
Okay, Robert, what do you use? What injection?
Butchers pork injection. We have since the beginning.
Yep.
We don't change.
They
We
don't.
tried the other ones. We tried some of that LC pork injection. That was good. Don't get me wrong. And I know somebody that tried that and changed to that. And I've tried the Cosmos and a bunch of them. I'm telling you, over the years, you should see my pantry. I've got all the pork injections in there, I think. So
there's no room for food, real food.
and there's a few there that we've done well with the other ones, and then we didn't. Then I switched back to Butchers. Then we started doing well again. So we always wound up back doing what we did before.
We like to change ours up so that when we place our orders, you never know which one we're really using.
That's right. That's right.
Philip Reed said, Robert, he heard you talking about Boss Hog, right? And he said, easy now. I'll take it easy on I love the LC product. But anyway, that's just me. And Jim Compart said it's a great idea to always cook 4 butts.
I was going to say that Jim probably likes it with 4 because I buy an extra one.
You know, and Jim, I'm with you, man. To cook more the merrier, right? Let's roll with it. And also cook 8 or 6 racks of ribs. That's something I think we talked about. But how many racks of ribs are y'all cooking? I think, Robert, you said 5.
No,
4.
well, I usually cook 4.
Usually, but you had an extra one.
I just got that Jambo with a 30-inch barrel, so there's room for another one. So heck, why not cook another one, right?
Love it.
I'm worried about. I want to increase those odds.
And y'all cook 3 butts. I cook 3 butts also because it fits in my thing. Awesome. So what are y'all using? What kind of injection are y'all using?
Put you on the spot now.
It's actually so I'll say it's not a straight one injection. It's actually a combination of injections, and they're all available at the Atlanta Barbecue Store.
Boom. We only carry the best there at Atlanta Barbecue Store. Yeah, Bill Purvis said LC had some walks in Banjo BBQ. That's awesome. That was fun to see all those Texas guys come in to Augusta and have a. I was glad I got to meet Bill. I got to meet Fred. I got to meet Lee and John. Whatever. We had a good time. But all right. So saucing. Do you sauce the whole butt? What are your thoughts on saucing pork? Anybody?
Put sauce on it. That's my thought.
I like
And then
that.
put it in the box.
Yeah.
And then put it in the box. All right. So a big question has been finishing rubs. Finishing rub. How important? I know that's what I want to say. Well, y'all tell me. Is that what you mean by saying the last 5 to 10 minutes on the cutting board? Is that what you're talking about? Is finishing rubs?
That
Part
could be
of
it.
Part of it. Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
If you're not using a finishing rub in all categories, I'm not going to say you're probably not winning or you're probably not getting calls. I'm not saying you won't, but just like picking a good meat to cook, it helps the final product.
Okay.
And you might even put more sauce on. Who knows?
But always taste it before you overdo it. That's
Yeah.
killed us a couple times. We've killed our briskets. It didn't have any flavor when we started, and then we didn't taste it as we were going. And yeah.
I don't know many cooks that take their pork off the cooker, break it down and put it straight in the box. They're always doing something to it before they do that.
That's what I'm doing wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just going to read between the lines with Paul's comment from earlier. He's talking about he cuts off the end of the money muscle so he doesn't want it to burn, so it doesn't mess up his au jus. Doesn't want the bitter flavor in your au jus. You remember that comment, Paul? You look like
well, not the money muscle, back toward the socket of the butt.
Okay.
So opposite of the money muscle.
Okay. All right. So that piece of meat that you're trying not to burn and not to make the beef jerky flavor, right? Or the jerky. So the au jus is important to you. Where does the au jus come into play in your pork process? Or is it just what you cook it in?
No. For us, you're building that au jus flavor on how you're doing your wrapping process and with your rubs. It's all plays out in the au jus at the end. And then you're using that au jus naturally at the end to help, because pork just soaks up moisture. So as soon as you break it down, it's going to start a drying out process. So you want to try to, as much as you can, keep rehydrating it. Because once you put it in the box, you start and close it, you're done, you're limited. So, but yeah, don't think of au jus as just pork fat, rendered pork fat. That's what it is, but you're flavoring it as you cook it. It'll have a smoke flavor to it. So yeah, that's what you put in your wrap is important too, because you're adding it straight to that au jus.
So
it's like the simmering of a good soup or something. I mean, it just takes time, and that's what your au jus ends up being. It's just kind of this base to work off of at the end.
So good, man. That's so good. So wrap. You just brought up this wrap thing. How important? Well, Robert, do you wrap? Do you put anything in your wrap?
Too legit.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. What has happened to Robert? He used to be so, just giving out the information, and tonight he's like evolved. I love it.
Lex is pinching me so hard right now. I just got to keep it quiet, buddy.
And I've been kicking him too.
Mine's the nudge in the side of like.
No, we do put wrap in, and I will say it's pretty darn sweet.
And okay, I'm going to talk about me. Nobody cares. I use a very sweet mixture in my wrap that I wrap over everything. I wrap it all tight, and I use that wrap and au jus mixture towards the end of my process. I'm sure nobody else does that. That's something that I found that really, it helps my sauce. It helps everything when you incorporate it all together. So that's what I do. But anyway, so we'll move on from that because apparently that's not what we want to talk about. Paul, did you have anything you want to talk about that, or you did bring up the wrap?
No. We were talking about Snoop Dogg wrapping, but yeah, if you want to talk about pork butt wraps, no, I don't have anything to say on that.
Okay, so there you go, guys. It seems like we've hit a little bit of a lot of information has come out. Y'all can just go ahead and send me some money for all the information that y'all got, because this has been great. No, I'm just kidding. Just order something from us here at the Atlanta Barbecue Store. Ellen would appreciate that. So let's go back one more time and just recap our night. Robert and Lex love, and all five of us like compart pork. We're compart people. The short bones seem to be the best bones. That's what I learned. And I don't remember who said that. But anyway, that was something on rib.
Robert. Chatty Robert.
He hasn't said anything since then. If y'all have noticed, ever since that little mark, he has been that smile on his face right there, so excited. But anyway, I'm just proud, guys. I'm proud of what y'all have done for us tonight, and I'm looking forward to next week. Hopefully next week, Robert and Lex, Paul, and there'll be a little less pressure on you. Hopefully we'll be able to have one more couple come on, and we can ask them some questions also. If not, y'all have done an awesome job tonight. And I've been very pleased with the information that's come out, especially you, Robert, with my old Chewin the BBQ co-host.
Everybody knows why I got kicked off now.
And it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was Lex. Lex said, "You're done."
Hey, can we call next Monday, date night?
Yeah. I try and bring Ellen on too, or I don't know if she can get down the stairs. We moved our everything's downstairs now, so she can't get down the stairs. But poor Ellen. I hate to break in, but it's Robert's. It's way past Robert's bedtime. He is. Oh yeah, he's already done.
I'm good.
I'm good. But next week, I'm very excited. Go ahead. So we know what we're talking about next week. Next week is going to be chicken and brisket. And I do believe there's going to be some differences in the chicken and brisket next week. I'm pretty sure we got legs and thighs. Anyway, but next week should be a lot of fun. Come with questions. As you can see, Robert is going to be opened up at the beginning. So get here at the beginning of the show before Lex comes down. And then
start.
Yeah.
But it's been a lot of fun. I do want to say Silly Barbecue Life is the best show on YouTube. Please subscribe to that.
Oh my goodness.
And maybe he'll put out a show sometime soon.
Hey, I did want to clarify one thing real
Okay.
quick before Philip kills me. When I was talking about LC, I didn't say it was bad. I just said it didn't work for me and my flavor profile is what I meant. And I can neither confirm or deny that the chicken and brisket is good. So check that out. The pork didn't work for me.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
I'm sure earlier Philip was like, that guy's saying my stuff's crap. I didn't say that. It just didn't work for us for our pork.
Well, as soon as you said that, Bill did come on and say that LC had some walks. So
there you go. See? And everybody from Texas killed us in Augusta. So there you go. They're all using LC.
Yeah. It's great. And, I have been I've been packing orders. So if y'all order, be careful. But Ellen has double checked everything for me. But that stuff is selling. It's all selling really good. You're okay, Robert. He said it's all good. I do want to say one thing. Paul and Lynn, you do know that we have 2 TV stars here with us tonight also. Not just on the Silly Barbecue, but they're also BBQ superstars. And I did see, Robert, where BBQ is going to be on, is it the Bonifay thing in Florida or something like that?
No, not that I know of. They aren't telling us.
Yeah, they are.
I didn't think they were filming this anymore this year. They're doing a best of for this season.
Yeah.
Now, if they are, these knees would probably know, but they don't tell us.
Well, I just saw on Facebook. I'm with you, Lynn. I think you saw it too. That BBQ is going to be at Bonifay, Florida. And once again, that's the super.
Good thing we're cooking that then, huh?
I'm sorry.
I think Myron Mixon's going to be their big star.
Woo-hoo.
Somebody's been anyway. Yes. So
Somebody's
That would be right.
It'd be silly.
Real deep in that one.
Yeah, get kicked off in the barbecue fat. Now I'm getting kicked off barbecue.
No.
Yeah, I can't even make dollar store shows.
You never were kicked off you've never kicked off Chewin the BBQ Fat. You have always been the star of barbecue, the Chewin the BBQ Fat.
Don't believe that. He got tired of the agendas. He said, enough of the agenda business.
I was going through emails and I saw I kept them all my old agendas for Chewin the BBQ Fat. Kind of brought a tear to my eye, but that's all right. I'm gonna let y'all go. I know Lynn and Paul, y'all have been traveling forever, so thank you so much for coming on. I know I've kept you on late tonight. Robert, it's way past your bedtime. So thank you for coming on tonight. And it's been a lot of fun. Hopefully next week we'll be able to have another one on. If I can't get them on, maybe we'll see if we can't get Brent and the Bees Knees crowd to come on.
Oh, yes, please.
The girlfriends.
And they have to sit this close to each other.
Yeah, like this.
Oh,
Gotta be a cheek to cheek show.
Date night. Got to do it.
Take night. Well, good. Well, guys, thank y'all so much. We've had a fun time tonight. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you so much for coming on. Come back next week, Chewin the BBQ Fat, Monday night, 8:30, and you'll get to see more, get to hear more information coming up because I'm going to push, guys. I'm going to push for brisket information and chicken information because these two cooks right here are amazing, and they have all the knowledge that you need. So, Bill, thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing everybody next week on Chewin the BBQ Fat. And we will see you next. We'll see y'all have a great time. Sorry, that was a terrible ending, but y'all have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh.